Hey, what's up? I'm Casey and this is CaseyReacts. Do you need random advice about things in general? Well, you need Reddit's r/LifeProTips. You can get a Life Pro tip on just about anything. Need a tip for your car? You got it. Need a tip as a homeowner? You got it. Need a tip as an employee or an employer? You got it. Just make sure you take these tips with a grain of salt because nothing is ever 100% true all the time. The best thing to do is find a tip that works for you and just run with it. Alright, let's get right to it. When you don't have all the facts, try to give people the most generous reason you can for their behavior. Annoyingly slow driver? Maybe it's a mom with a birthday cake in the back. The mindset will gradually make you less reactive, more compassionate, and more forgiving of your own bad days. Yeah, that's perfectly sound advice. It's always best to not react and just take it in. Take it in, decide, okay, what are the possibilities here? What could possibly be going on? Why is this behavior happening? And let your intuition decide after you've sat on it for a bit. Being someone that has a slight anger issue, I can definitely tell you it's worth getting into the practice of this. Your anger issues, if you have them, will affect those around you. It's best to try and get into that non-reactive mind state where you can just take things in and think of it from there. Trust me when I say being less angry is always a good thing. Unless you're in line for lunch at school and it's pizza day and someone stole the last slice right in front of you. Then you have my permission to kill. Not kill. Maim. Well, maybe. At the very least, just open up a slice of cheese and throw it at their face. It'll stick and you'll get your revenge. Remove all dealer decals from the back of your car. It's your vehicle now, and they're using you for free advertising. Rest in peace, my inbox. Thank you, Redditors, for the awards, the varying opinions and valid counter-arguments, and a special shout-out to all the toxic haters who helped me make it to the front page. Now, this advice comes straight from the comments. Someone had mentioned, if you're at the dealership, you can ask them, hey, remove the decals, or lower the price. If they do remove the decals, perfect. If they don't remove the decals, they might knock off, let's say, 40 or 50 bucks. Then you can go home, use a hot, heat gun or a hot hair dryer, and just remove the decals yourself. Just make sure you have a plastic scraper, some goo off, and make sure that you don't damage your car doing this. The downside is it'll take maybe 5-10 minutes out of your day, but the upside, you'll save 50 bucks and get the decals off. Win-win, right? Instead of using a Coinstar and losing 11% of your money, take your change jar when you go shopping. When it's time to pay, use the self-checkout machine and just drop change in the coin slot. It counts the change just like a Coinstar, and you keep all your money. As a previous grocery store employee that lived on the self-checkouts, I just warn you, drop them in slowly. You have to take your time or they're going to get jammed up, unless it's a super new machine. If they are not super new, it will get jammed up, and you will get very, very angry because the machine will start yelling at you and rejecting your change. Everybody loses in that situation. There are no winners. However, a nice alternative to this, if you go to your bank, and with COVID restrictions they still let you into the bank, all you have to do is take it there, put it into their coin machine, and as long as you have an account there, you get to keep all of it, and they'll just deposit it straight into your account, or they can cash it. Doesn't matter. As long as it's your bank and you have an account there, you'll keep all your money and you don't have to do the Coinstar thing. If you're planning to go hiking in an area where you may have poor cell phone reception, download the offline map data of the area through Google Maps beforehand. If you get lost and lose cell reception, you can still use the phone's GPS and downloaded map data to navigate back to safety. That's also a good tip if you're driving up to a campsite. My wife and I went to a campsite a few weeks ago. About halfway through, because it was up in the mountains, we lost reception. Luckily, it was just one solid road, just a lot of twists and turns, but only one solid road to the campsite. Had there been a lot of different turnoffs and things like that, we may not have made it to that particular campsite. So don't just do it while hiking, do it while driving too. I'll even give you a bonus tip. Go onto Spotify if you have it, and download a library. Just download something, just a few different songs, whatever songs you want. If you want to play your music but you don't have any reception, boom, you can just play that music. Yeah, it might get old if you constantly drive places without reception, but, it's better than listening to nothing. If your dog gets out, or you see a dog who's running from its owner, instead of chasing it, crouch down with open arms and call to the dog. If you're chasing it, the dog will think you're playing a game. I've used this on my own dogs and helped strangers who've been chasing their own dog. Use this tip and you'll hopefully never have to deal with the agony of running after your dog in panic. If you're chasing a dog, it definitely thinks you're playing a game. Honestly, I don't know the psychology of it, but crouching down like you want to greet them will make them come to you. Edit. Lots of great advice in the comments. Alternatives to crouching down. Opening the car door. Laying and falling down. And running the other way so they chase you. And sure, this might not work for every single dog, but I think it definitely works for the majority. Might as well try it before commencing the panic chase. However, the most effective way to get a dog chasing you, just let sausage links hang out of your pockets. They will never leave you alone. Warning, you might lose your pockets and your hips and anything else that sausage link might be touching. Dogs really like sausage. But you can have a backup for this too. If you run out of sausage and the dogs start getting mad, just take out your pocket cheese, throw the cheese somewhere in the yard, they'll go after it, then you can get them. Wait, what? There's people don't carry pocket cheese? Why didn't you tell me that? I just said it on the pod. No, I just said it on the video. Why do people not carry pocket cheese? What? No, it's stupid. Everybody needs pocket cheese. Okay, so I'm being told that people don't carry pocket cheese. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say people also don't carry sausages in their pockets. So disregard all of that information. If you're broke, shop for food at Indian grocery stores. Many of you already know rice and beans are cheap, but Indian grocery stores take it to another level. You can get a variety of cheap ingredients like lentils, chickpeas, variety of dried beans, millets, etc. in bulk for almost half the price. Their fresh produce is cheaper too compared to most stores. You don't have to know how to make Indian food. There are plenty of affordable spice mixes and sauce with simple instructions. Explore a store near you and begin experimenting. It's way better than living on ramen and hot dogs. When I was in college, I had less than $200 per month for food. But I never went hungry or lacked nutrition because I exclusively shopped at Indian stores. I never missed takeout too much because I learned to make flavorful meals with simple ingredients. These shelf-stable ingredients are a base for many dishes: rice, split peas or tur dal, turmeric, chili powder, garam masala, ginger garlic paste, sold in the bottle. I'm doing fairly well now, financially, but I'm still amazed when I walk away from an Indian store with ingredients for 2 to 3 dinners under $30. Edit. Few people commenting that $200 is a lot. It's not where I lived. Also, I had under $200 spending money, which I mostly used on food. I don't know how you guys think that's rich. No matter what your budget is, you get more bang for your buck at ethnic grocery stores, and that's the tip I'm trying to share. So I don't really have anything to comment on there, except you can get food cheaper than if you go to an ethnic grocery store. Granted, this method might be illegal. All you do is go to Walmart, get whatever food you want, put it on the self-checkouts, and mark it as bananas. Bananas are incredibly cheap, so you can get that expensive cheese for about $1. You can get that 20-pound roast for a fraction of the cost. That KitchenAid stand mixer that you want? Well, my goodness, wasn't that a weird-looking banana? Okay, so you might not get away with the kitchen mixer one, but Walmart's scales don't say what kind of food is on there, so if you do it with produce, nobody's going to notice because they don't ever have somebody watching that thing. I'm not encouraging you to do this, I'm just saying that's the way it is. And once again, illegal. Very, very illegal. Do this at your own risk. I'm not responsible for your stupidity. College freshmen. Always go to class even if you don't feel like it. Sometimes professors give out bonus points for going to class when a lot of people don't go. Also, college students. Go to class. You'll learn things. You'll pass the test. You won't fail the class for absences. If you don't have to go to class, great. Most places require you to go to class. Also, if you want to miss class, all you gotta do, even if it's for a non-legitimate reason, email the teacher. Let them know, hey, I can't make it to class for whatever your made-up reason is because you're a liar. They'll understand, as long as you have a good lie. They'll understand. You won't get marked absent. I did that consistently throughout college whenever I wanted to do any homework for other classes or whatever the reason was. All you have to do, just let them know ahead of time. Let them know not right before class starts. When working in Excel, typing Alt-Enter will create a new line of text within the same cell. Fair warning though, if you're working in Excel, you're probably a nerd. Don't work in Excel. Don't be a nerd. If you'll be headed out of town on an extended vacation, cook and freeze meals, such as a tray of lasagna, for when you return. It's much easier than getting home and realize you have to go grocery shopping immediately. Alternatively, you can have more than one day's worth of food in your house. I promise you. Those frozen goods, they're gonna last. I promise you, those non-perishables will not perish. As long as you keep your stuff stocked, you don't have to go and do that anyway. Alternatively, you could just get a regular frozen lasagna from the store. I mean, that way it's already meant to be frozen and you won't have a chance of getting it freezer burnt like you would with fresh lasagna. When you're going out of town for an extended time, place a bowl of ice cubes in your freezer. If you come back to a solid block, your freezer got warm enough to ruin your food. It could be because your power was out or the compressor failed or a host of other issues, but if the cubes melted enough to stick together, all your other food was warm enough to thaw as well. You should probably throw it away and buy new food instead of getting sick. Or in an effort to not waste any ice, Another commenter mentioned that you can freeze a cup of water, just like about an inch worth of water in it. Once it's frozen, put a penny on top of it. Then you go on vacation. If you get back and that penny is still not on top, if that penny is underneath it, in the middle, doesn't matter where. If it's not exactly where you left it, you know that your freezer went out. It's super simple, super easy, and honestly a lot easier to tell considering that ice cubes often freeze together anyway, regardless of the refrigerator or freezer going out. Put a basket with bottled water and snacks in your guest's room. When people are visiting, they don't like to ask for a midnight snack or rummage in someone else's kitchen. If you have some granola bars, chips, fun-sized candy, or something, they can enjoy a snack without feeling bothersome. Just be careful, this kind of thing can attract pests. If any of the food is open, it can attract roaches or bugs. If any of the food is closed, it could attract in-laws. It's a very annoying and expensive problem to deal with, so it's better just to not do it. If you're currently unemployed and looking, treat the task of finding a job as your job. Wake up early, shower, eat breakfast, and get to doing career research, editing your resume, applying for jobs, and doing more of the last 3 things. Take breaks, but treat it like you have to clock back in. Yeah, especially nowadays, it's really tough to get work. So if you need to, then make it your job. Make it your job, do it. It doesn't have to be 8 hours a day. Do it, 3 or 4 hours worth of a day. It works a lot better than just applying to one particular job and thinking, oh boy, I hope I get that job. If you have a queen-sized bed, you should use a king-sized quilt. A king-sized quilt or comforter will do a much better job of staying put and do a better job of covering the bed. Plus, if you're sleeping with a partner, there's a lot more blanket to share. Alternatively, don't get a queen-sized bed. They're terrible. Get a king-sized bed. That way you have your own space. Then, sleep with separate blankets, because if one of you is a cover hog like I am, they will appreciate you more for getting those separate blankets. Yeah, you won't be able to sleep right next to each other, but also, if you're in the South, you don't want to sleep right next to each other. It's hot. Have someone call your previous workplaces and ask for your own reference to get an idea of their true opinion of you. That way you can exclude certain workplaces from your resume if they say bad things about you. Be careful with this one though, because honestly, you might not want to hear what they have to say. If they're one of those employers that will actually talk about you and say what you've done, sometimes, yeah, it might be good to hear, oh yeah, Casey was a great employee. He always showed up on time, he did all his work, he helped anywhere he could. He was a very good employee. I'd definitely recommend him. However, you never want to hear, oh God, Casey, well, he showed up to work sometimes. Most of the time he smelled okay. He was a little rude to customers, but he was also rude to everyone else, so I guess that was just kind of his thing. You don't want to hear that. Parents, please never contact your kids' bosses. Never. Not really sure why this has to be a life pro tip. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. That's kind of common sense. Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. I don't care if you are their parent or legal guardian. You have no right to call their business. You have no right to call their boss and say, hey, is my kid working today? No, it's just very, very unprofessional. It makes you look bad, it makes your kid look bad, and it could negatively impact their career. You do have one out though. If your kid can't show up to work because they're in a coma, you have permission to call their boss. That's one of the only times you can, if the kid physically cannot contact their workplace themselves. If you forget the name of a casual acquaintance, don't feel bad asking for their name. It's quite possible they forgot yours too, and this prevents ongoing awkwardness. However, if you've known this casual acquaintance for more than 1 year, it's not worth asking their name. You do not want to ask their name, because if you ask their name after knowing them for a year, because you just never bothered to learn it, never found them on Facebook, that's going to make you look horrible. Remember, if it's been longer than a year, just call him Chief, call him Buddy, call him Dude, call him Queen, whatever you want to call him. Just don't try to call them a name unless you are 100% sure it's theirs, and don't ask anybody their name. Maybe ask someone that might loosely know them, but nobody that it would ever get back to them that you did not know their name. When traveling abroad, take a picture of your passport and email yourself the picture. Should it be lost or stolen, this can assist you in proving your identity. You should also do this with your ID, but never ever your social. Do not do that. You don't want that information anywhere except on that card. Keep a tank or t-shirt you don't care for in your car. Thank me the day you put on something nice and end up having to change a tire. Okay, well first off, if you have a tank in your car, why in the world aren't you driving that? Then, there's no chance you're going to have a flat tire because it runs on treads. Secondly, if you do take this advice, remember, it's user/Anaburo. You have to thank them. They said it specifically. You have to thank them. I don't make the rules, I just think them up and write them down. If you're trying to lose weight and one of your goals is no snacks after dinner, brush your teeth afterwards, because who would eat chips with toothpaste flavor in their mouth? Edit. Someone in the comments pointed out it's bad for your teeth to immediately do this, so wait half an hour or so with brushing. This feels like a good place to slide this in here, but fun fact, you are actually supposed to brush your teeth and then wait 30 minutes before rinsing your mouth out. So, yeah, that's another way to do it. Apparently it helps build the enamel on your teeth, but you can look it up. That's actually how you're supposed to brush your teeth. You brush them, give them really good, you spit out the excess, and then you just keep your mouth like it is. You'll have horrible toothpaste taste in your mouth, maybe taste like plaque or whatever else came off your teeth. But don't rinse it off for at least 30 minutes, and it'll actually help that enamel to stay and grow back and help it protect. It may not help it grow back. I'm not a dentist, so I'm not sure. Also, if you brush your teeth like this, don't eat oranges for at least 30 minutes after you brush. Or rinse. Alright, and on that hygienic note, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to come back throughout the week for more content. Please like and subscribe to help keep this channel going, and remember to have a great week.